We're live. We're live. We're back.
Yo, yo, yo.
It's been a minute, but let's see if we still remember how we do this.
We just say a bunch of words and hope people are listening. That's all.
So we are live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube.
You might want to mute your other site there, buddy.
I did. I just wanted to make sure she came up though. Anyway, so hope everybody had a good Christmas break. Happy New Year.
Right, Thanksgiving, holiday, Kwanzaa, whatever you were celebrating.
Halloween, it's been a minute. So what we wanted to touch on today is it's 50 years of hip hop. Hip hop music has been around for 50 years.
It's almost as old as you.
You're right there behind me. But
yeah, but you'll always be older, so I got to give you shit.
Facts. Hip hop's been an important part of my life. I used to think I was the cool kid that, had to run to the store and buy every tape that came out, every CD that came out. Now they made it easier on us. Now we can just download it right onto our iPhones. So
certainly made it cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
What was it back in the days? Like $16, $17 for an album or something like that?
You were at least $17 to $20. You had to go to the store to buy it.
Unless it was like a double album, then you're paying more.
Yeah, you're paying like $40.
Or the special editions with the poster inside.
Special edition with like one more song that didn't make the final cut. It's
the bonus content.
They always found a way to get you.
But, yeah, you remember the albums that had the hidden tracks in it? It didn't say anything about it, but the track for some odd reason was like 17 minutes long.
Oh yeah.
Like what is going on here?
It's like you're sitting there and you're unfolding the insert, and it's like, where is this at? And you never find it. But anyway, what I wanted to do today, what we wanted to do was break down, three different categories, our top 10 list, of our favorite beats, our favorite groups, and our favorite artists of all time.
Indeed.
Now, as long as we've been listening to hip hop, these lists were not easy to make at all.
No, definitely
not. I've gone in, I've edited my list probably 4 or 5 times.
Facts.
Realized I forgot somebody, and then I had to move my list around to make it make sense.
I just did that 30 seconds ago.
But what I want us to start with here, let me bring it back up, is the greatest beats of all time.
Okay.
Let me bring up my list here. There's your list. And here is, where the hell's my list? Groups. There it is. Okay. So greatest top 10 hip hop beats of all time. I mean, and like I said, this list was not easy at all to make. Definitely had to go through my library on my phone, decipher what's what. But Jason, I'm gonna let you go ahead and start with your number 10.
All right. So my number 10 was 6 Foot 7 Foot by Lil Wayne. I have a reasoning behind this. So growing up, I was always a huge fan of Beetlejuice, and Beetlejuice was the first time you ever heard that song, 6 Foot 7 Foot, when they were all at the table possessed.
They like come and me wanna go home.
Right. So I've always been a huge fan of that song. It's actually a really chill song, the original, but when he remixed it, or whoever made that beat, the beat is bananas. It's really, really good as a beat. It's very catchy, and you immediately know what it is as soon as you hear it, because they leave in that 6 foot, 7 foot, 6 foot 7, and you just hear it and you're like, oh, I know what that is. But then when they go into the whole beat, it's a good beat. No, I like it.
That's definitely not a bad way to start. Which is funny because if you scroll over to my list, my number 10 beat is "A Millie" by Lil Wayne.
Yep.
And kind of to branch off of what you just said, you know exactly what that song is when it comes on.
Yep.
And
Yep.
basically, whoever mixed it, like you said in yours, basically took a Millie and just remixed
Same
it
word.
over and over and over and over, and it's fire.
Yeah. Sometimes it's simple.
Not to mention you got Weezy on there, and he can basically rap over a toilet when it flushes, and it sounds great. So
Yeah.
but that's why I picked that at that spot. I wanted to make mine higher, but there were some better beats that had to come ahead of that. So
yeah, over 50 years, there's only like 100,000 different beats to choose from.
exactly,
Millions.
exactly. Jason, what was your number 9 beat?
So my number 9 is "Nothing But a G Thing" by Dr. Dre. This was an iconic beat just because of the high pitched, like weird synthesizer noise in the background. And then you've got Dr. Dre, and it was the introduction of Snoop Dogg at the time. And just that beat, you hear that and you know that it's a West Coast song as soon as you hear it, because I have a couple more on my list that are kind of the same, like that same tree branch, that are just you hear it, you know what it is. And as soon as you hear that beat kick in, you just know who it is, you know what it is, and you just know you're not going to change the song. You're going to listen to it because you know what it is.
Yeah, Nothing But a G Thing. That's also on my list later on.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll actually get to that. My number 9 beat, Jigga What, Jigga Who.
That's a good beat.
Now, this song wasn't even on Jay-Z's album. This was on the Rough Riders album, Volume 2.
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought that was on one of his compilations or something.
No. So
wild.
Back in the day, Rough Riders had an era where they basically ran hip hop. And they dropped, I want to say, 3 compilation albums, Volume 1, 2, and 3. This song fell on Volume 2, and
Good song.
It really made me turn into a Jay-Z fan. Like, I liked his music, but then after I heard this kind of put it over the top for me. Definitely top 5 favorite Jay-Z songs of all time.
Nice.
Coming back down here to you. What was your number 8?
My number 8 is Snoop Dogg, "Gin and Juice." Same concept. You hear it, yeah. As Scotty was sips on his gin and juice over there. Same concept. Like, you hear the beat, you know what it is, you know what it's going to be, you know what kind of song it's going to be, and just that time period was such an important time in hip hop, because all of these like beats, these like banger songs were coming out, and they were just incredibly good. It was incredibly good music back then. So and at that time, I don't know that anybody was putting out better music than them in that time era.
Death Row basically was on top of the world.
Yeah, they were
at that point.
Gin and Juice was the same thing. You had the synthesizers in the background. You had the hard 808 underneath of it. It's just a good song. It's a good song. It's something that you can listen to, but you can also just vibe out and bop to. That's what makes it such a good song.
I mean, most of these songs on these lists, you can still throw on today, and they're still great songs.
Oh, all day long.
These songs are timeless. And that's one of the things why I love,
Gotcha. What you got for your number 8 there, Mike?
So this is later on in Snoop Dogg's career. The This was probably, I think, the fourth or fifth album, but Drop
Okay.
It Like It's Hot. Him and Pharrell.
Oh,
Um,
was this his Snoop Lion phase?
nah, this was before that. This was on the album Rhythm and Gangster. Which I want to say was right after Cash Money Days.
Okay. Oh,
'Cause
I
Cash
remember.
Money,
Okay, I do know.
yep.
I know the song. Yeah. Okay.
Anytime
It's a
you
good
put,
song.
anytime you put Pharrell on your song,
Yep.
you can guarantee that the beat is going to be insane.
As is evidence a little later in my list.
Exactly. This probably would be my favorite song by Snoop Dogg. It's just it was just a perfect song across the board, and you know,
Right.
we're gonna move on from there because I can talk about the song forever and
Talk about all this stuff forever.
Exactly. What was your number? What was your number 7?
My number 7 is "Wanna Be a Baller" by Lil Troy. So
Wanna
this
Be a
is
Baller.
this is an older song, but it was something about the beat and like the melody of it. It was a super chill song. It wasn't real complicated. It was just a simple, just a rhythmic beat, but just the way it flowed. It was just a really it was a really good song because it was a real chill song. It wasn't, you didn't get hype, you didn't want to fight nobody. You just kind of put it on and just kind of vibe out to it. It was a super chill song is what it was, but the beat was nice. The beat was real nice.
I can remember us as kids at your it was at one of your houses, and there used to be a show that came on called The Box.
That was in that was Greektown.
And you and I got in trouble because I called in and I requested a song. And I'm pretty sure this was the actual song.
No, it wasn't this song. It was Crossroads by Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Okay. Oh,
you ordered that bitch 9 times, and it costs like $1.29 per order.
Your mom wanted to kill
we got yelled
me,
at. We got yelled at for that shit. All right, what you got for your number 7?
Number 7. So my number 7 is going to be Cream by Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, that's a solid choice.
These guys really didn't miss. I mean, anytime you have a group of 9 members,
you're gonna get a hit somewhere.
Every single one of them, could rap. There was no weak links in that chain. This was their first song they ever dropped, and it still holds up to now. I mean, Cash rules everything around me. I mean, it makes sense.
Yep. It's been remixed. It's been covered. It's been sampled relentlessly. It's a great song. That's a great song.
It just works. You're number 6. Oh yeah, these are your boys.
Yeah, Stay Fly by 3 6 Mafia. It was kind of a turn. It was more of a mainstream song by them. Anybody who knows 3 6 Mafia, they're more for like the trap, like dirty down south beats. They're obviously from Memphis, Tennessee. But this was more of like the mainstream song. So you had Riding Spinners, you had Who Run It, and they were like hardcore, like crunk beats type deal. But then they came out with Stay Fly, and it was like a real, like, it was kind of just a real catchy beat. It had a nice hook to it. And this is one of the first times where they did a remix to it. This is one of the first times they had the original Stay Fly, and then they had the remix, which had like 8-Ball and MJG. I think Young Buck was on it. And it was just a super catchy beat. Again, it wasn't super complicated, but that's just, that's DJ Paul being DJ Paul, because that man can make some beats.
And crazy thing is, I never listened to these guys until you turn me on to them.
I grew up on these boys.
And now I find myself listening to their music at least 2 or 3 times per week.
Oh yeah.
Old school. It's hip hop.
Right.
My next one on my list was with the one you said earlier, Nothing But a G Thing.
All right.
Um when this album dropped, The Chronic, when it dropped, it was it was one of those albums that you could play from start to finish and didn't have to skip any tracks. But as soon as you heard 1, 2, 3, and 2 to 4, you knew you was in for a good time.
Oh yeah.
Snoop Dogg took the world by storm, and this song was amazing because of that.
Yeah, that
Um,
smells fire.
like I said, this song still gets played nonstop in my car, and I love it.
Oh
But
yeah.
moving on, number 5 for you.
My number 5, we were just talking about, when you got 9 guys in the group, one of them's going to find a hit. This was actually, he was just a feature on the hit, but mine is You're All I Need by Mary J. Blige featuring Method Man. That beat, that little do, 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 like, if you don't know what that song is when you hear that, you don't listen to hip hop. You don't listen to hip hop music if you don't know exactly what that song is as soon as you hear it. And that beat was just, it was nuts. Like that when that song came out, that song was, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing that song. That song was a monster jam. And that song is timeless because the beat holds up, the song holds up, and just you put, like, again, like you said, any of these songs, you throw it on your car, you're mobbing down the road and listen to this, you're banging your head to it. It's a great song.
Epic, and that's crazy. That came in at number 5.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? My number 5, Elevator, Me and You by Outkast.
Oh, that beat's nuts.
Um, Outkast has played a big role, a big part in my life. Their music has
100%.
gotten me through some crazy times. When I first heard this song, and I heard it's like the aliens are invading at like when the song first starts and the beat kicks in, like you're bobbing your head the entire time, man.
Oh yeah.
Song's a banger. Probably my favorite song of all time by them. Um, it, and they've had thousands of hits, but that's going to rank as my favorite song by them all time, beating all.
Nice.
It's classic. What is your number 4? I was surprised by this one.
My number 4 is a bit of a departure. It's it's a popular song and beat, but I feel like it falls to the wayside because there were so many other popular artists on the label, like, at that time.
The label was big.
My number 4 is Spit These Bars by Drag On. That beat, it's almost like it's just a little piano beat, just do 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 do. But it's another one. It's like, I look at a beat like, what kind of a mind frame does it put you in? And based on that song, like, when you hear that song, like, you want to kick a door off the hinge. Like, that song is, because it's by Drag On, that his flow is ridiculous, and like, you hear that beat and you just can't help but just to, like, get into the moment of that song. But I think that the beat, that was I believe that was a Swizz beat, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Which I again, he's the same as Pharrell. Like, that motherfucker just don't miss. Or what Snoop Dogg say? That man don't miss.
Exactly.
So I mean, just that was in that era of the Rough Riders, where they were getting some of the wildest beats you've ever heard, and just like, they were different for the time because it was just a departure from what you were used to hearing from different artists at the time. So that was a big one for me.
It was a cookie cutter. They weren't scared to go outside the box and make music, and that was the best part about them.
Yeah.
So my number, where we at? Number 4.
Number 4.
My number 4. I got 5 on it by the Loonies.
That's a great beat, dude.
The beat is sick.
Oh yeah, do 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 do.
Now, sadly enough, that was really the only song they were ever known for.
Makes it
But
that much more iconic, though. How many years has it been?
it's
You
probably
can still listen to it.
It's probably been 30 years since that song dropped.
I would guess so. Yeah, it's been a while, that's for sure.
But it's just one of the reasons why I still play 90s rap music, man. It's just because of songs like this. The song
certainly not going to listen to current hip hop music.
No, it's trash.
Yeah,
but that song comes on and it just puts you into a whole different mindset.
Yeah.
Moving on to your number 3.
Number 3. So this is what we were talking about earlier with Pharrell. There's certain beat makers they just don't miss.
He's everywhere.
So the song's called "When the Last Time." It's by a group called Clipse. Now a lot of people who hear this aren't going to know who Clipse are. So there's Malice, and there was of course Pusha T, who everybody does know who Pusha T is, but a lot of people don't know that he was in a group called Clipse, and a lot of people don't know that they made real good music. And when Pharrell was making beats for him, good Lord. This was one of the wildest beats that I think I've ever heard, because you talk about stepping outside of the box. When it first came out, you couldn't even figure out what kind of noise this was. Like it was just like you'd hear like the beat kicked in and you just heard and you're like, wait, what the hell was that? So like that beat is so recognizable. That's why it's so high on my list, because not only is it a good song, but same thing we talked about. Like when you hear that as soon as that beat kicks in, you're like, oh, that's I know who that is. That's Clipse. That's Neptunes. That's Pharrell. Like there's no mistaking it. 100%. You know who it is, what it is, and you know what it is.
And you're vibing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 3 for me. Now these guys had 2 songs that I really debated back and forth. What should be at 3, and then what should be at the other spot.
Right.
Shook Ones Part 2 by Mobb Deep. The beat is iconic. If anybody has ever seen the movie 8 Mile, at the end of it, and when Eminem is rapping in the rap battle, that is the beat that he beats Papa Doc with.
Who are going to be an Avenger.
Exactly, because he didn't want no problems with Eminem. The song is just start to finish, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Havoc and Prodigy, rest in peace to Prodigy, but
absolutely,
song is perfect. That's why it came in at my number 3.
That is a good beat.
Your number 2 is a banger too.
Yeah, so my number 2 is "Today Was a Good Day" by. This song is the same thing that we get talk about the whole time. The West Coast beat, you hear it, you hear the synthesizer, you know what it is. But this also plays into, this song came out around the time that Boys in the Hood came out. Right. So this has
iconic.
If you didn't know who Ice Cube was then, you're an idiot. Like he was everywhere.
He's the fat one in. He's the fat one in Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, he's the guy that collects baseball cards and Are We There Yet? Yeah, he's a used to be gangster that still has the look though.
And he's the dad in Are We There Yet?
Yes, he is. That song, the beat was not. The beat was good. The video, the music video for it was awesome. Just it's same thing. You hear that beat and you're just transported just to a whole mood. Like you're living through that beat and just through the lyrics and everything that come with it. So that was my number 2, because I remember, I don't even know how many times I've listened to that song. I can't even put a number on. Who knows? But just everything about it was it was a good beat, good song, good lyrics. It works.
It just worked. So here we are with my number 2. my number 2 is Quiet Storm, Mob Deep, and I debated my 2 and 3. Like I said, Quiet Storm came out, and it's one of those songs. The beat is very minimal. There's not a lot to it at all,
but it
but
flows.
the flow to this beat is insane.
Absolutely.
Definitely my favorite Mob Deep song. I love it. I still play it to this day. Like I said, classic. The classics never die, man.
No.
Now we're down to our number ones. Jason, go ahead and tell them what your number one is.
So my number one is Rough Riders Anthem by DMX. This is, for me, probably the most iconic beat like ever made. This is, how old were we when this came out? Like 12,
90, 90.
It was 90. It was 95.
Okay.
It was 95. So we were like 11, like 10 or 11, maybe 12, somewhere around there. Like we weren't that old.
It's Dark and Hell is Hot.
Right. So It's Dark and Hell is Hot was the first CD I ever owned. That song, Rough Riders Anthem, just a little thing.
Actually, it was 98.
Was it 98?
98, yes, sir.
Interesting. Okay.
So you were 98, I was 16, so you would have been 15.
15. All right. So same. You're in high school, you get this album, and like this beat, again, it was a Swiss beat. This is one of the most iconic songs ever. Like the beat, this is the one where you hear it, and now this is the real one. This makes you like want to go like rob a liquor store or some shit when you hear this, because the song is insane, and it's just it's a real like gutter beat. Like you hear it, it's grungy, it's dirty. But
the video was crazy too.
The video was crazy, but at the same time, it was very polished. Like everything, like there wasn't a miscue on it. The song, the beat, it worked. And when you heard it, you just got hyped. You just want to rip a door off the hinges and just go hard. So, and it holds up because to this day, who doesn't listen to like DMX songs? You know what I mean? It's like Rough Riders Anthem. It has stood up to the test of the time. Yeah, rest in peace, DMX. So it's held up majorly.
Very, very well said there, buddy.
Down to your number one. What you got there, buddy?
So back to Dre and Snoop. Still Dre. When that piano starts playing and you're watching the video and they're pulling up in the 6'4" Impalas.
Right.
There's nothing better than that.
I agree.
The song is sick. It's perfect. I mean, Dre and Snoop on the same track. I mean, obviously nothing but a G thing was huge.
Right.
So why not do it again? They did it again, and it was a freaking banger.
They've been doing it again and again ever since.
Yeah. That's definitely my favorite beat of all time. I love it. I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. But is there anybody that you forgot or that you want to honorable mention here?
Well, as far as beats go, not really. But once we get into the top 10 artists and the groups, there's a couple that I missed that I feel I'm ashamed. But it's so hard making these lists. Top 10 lists are, I don't think people realize how hard it is to make a top 10 list. It's freaking hard.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, where do I put this guy? Well, if I put this guy here,
you forget about people, and then you're like, where do I add them in at? And then you got to start over because you're like, well, who do I bump, to put them on the list? It's hard. It's real hard.
Yeah. So moving on, we're gonna hop into top 10 hip hop groups of all time. Since you went first last time, I'm gonna go first this time.
All right.
I'm gonna start at my number 10. My number 10 is gonna be Bone Thugs and Harmony. Iconic group. For the Love of Money, Eazy-E, Thuggish Fergus Bone, the Crossroads holds a special place in my heart because when the song dropped, my stepdad had just passed away. Great song. To this day, I still have no clue what the fuck they're actually saying.
Not many people do. I don't even know if they do.
I mean, if you listen hard enough, you'll get like a bone, 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 bone or something in there. But the shit's fire.
Oh yeah.
They're awesome. They're actually still putting out new albums to this day, which is cool.
Yeah.
So they've definitely stood the test of time. But that's my number 10. Jason, go ahead and tell them what your number 10 is.
I have them a little higher on my list. My number 10 is D12. Now this is an odd one for a lot of people. A lot of people would never put them on their top 10 groups of all time. The reason that I have them in my top 10 is because they came in at a time when to rap as a group, you all had to have like this cohesiveness. Everybody kind of rapped the same. Everybody kind of blended in together. D12 was like for those who don't know, it's a group of 6 guys. One of them was Eminem, but the reason it was called D12 is because they all had their own alter ego, and basically they were all very, very different from each other, like cadence wise, lyric wise. Bizarre is all I'm going to say about that. Like it just they were all so different from each other, but yet they all had the right talent to rap. And they were coming out of Detroit, which obviously Eminem. Before him, it was Trick Trick. But D12 was before Big Sean. Like D12 really broke open the rap scene in Detroit, where there weren't a lot of notoriety, notorious rappers coming out of Detroit. And I feel like Eminem did obviously put them on the map, but I feel like when he did, they held their own. They came out with a few albums. Now, obviously, they're not together anymore. There was some inner turmoil, call it whatever you will. One of the artists, Proof, tragically died. But as a group, they had talent. They had a lot of talent. So they're my number 10.
That's your number 10. Not a bad way to start there, buddy. Let's see. My number 9, and you've heard me talk about him, was Mobb Deep. Love them as a group. 2 of their songs were in my top 3 greatest beats of all time. I would have loved to put them higher on my group, but there's just too much talent out there to do that. I feel like they're great, but there's 8 other groups that are better. So that's why they came in at my number 9. Nothing against them, nothing against their music. They were great. They were great for hip hop. But the guys that finished in front of them were just a little bit better in my eyes. Right. What is your number 8?
Nope, number 9.
I'm sorry. What is your number 9? Yep.
My number 9 is A Tribe Called Quest. Iconic group. It was a kind of a thrown together group last minute when they formed it, but A Tribe Called Quest put out a lot of really good music. For anybody that doesn't know, it was Q-Tip, I believe Busta Rhymes, and was Mos Def in it as well?
It was
Q-Tip and Busta Rhymes.
It was Q-Tip.
I'm blanking on it right now. Fife.
Yeah, Busta Rhymes was a part of the group. He was in Leaders of the New School.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got that mixed up.
He was in Scenario though, which is what you're thinking about.
Right. So A Tribe Called Quest was a New York group that had a real, like a raw flow, but they had a real, like they had a good flow to the way that they rap. They made really good music. I like them because they weren't on the whole like guns, drug, bitches type thing. They were more of a,
they were chilling.
They were chilling. We're doing our thing. We're moving through New York. We're moving through life, doing our thing. Yeah, it was Q-Tip, Fife, and Ali Shaheed.
Yep.
But they were awesome as a group. I liked them because they weren't pro, break the law, dumb shit. They were just a chill ass group and they were real lyrical. They were really nice with the way that they bounce off each other.
They
Which
just have fun, right?
As we advance through the groups, with my list, I value lyricism a lot over anything. So the fact that like they can jump in on each other and they can bounce off each other, I really respected the way that they rap because they were awesome. And they all, two of them anyway, went on to have good solo careers. Q-Tip obviously was the best out of all of them, but they all had a nice little career, so it worked out for them.
Not bad.
That was me. So what you got for number 8?
Number 8, the Beastie Boys. You know, back then, rappers were not supposed to be white.
No.
But these boys broke the mold. They were kind of rock rap. But
ain't nobody know what the hell they were.
right. But one of the things that I really admired about these guys is they always had fun.
Oh yeah.
Sabotage, the video.
The music video was nice. The fake cops and stuff. That was a great video.
You know, Intergalactic. You know, these boys were amazing. They were white and they were supposed to be doing rock songs or country, but they broke into the game. They were rappers. They were great. They've sold millions of albums. You know, MCA died a few years ago from cancer. Rest in peace. I feel
it's a shame that we're talking about. We're saying this about so many people.
But you know, love the Beastie Boys. I still listen to them to this day. Great music, man. Great music.
Absolutely.
What was your number 7 or your 8?
My number 8. My number 8 was EPMD.
EPMD.
These boys could flow.
Mm-hmm.
So EPMD was a rap group duo, and it was Eric Sermon and Paris Smith.
Yep.
EPMD, these boys were like they hit you with punchlines. They were fast. They were coming with it. Every song was like, it's almost like they were competing with each other to see like who could get the most bars in. And they had some real like raw ass songs that I really respected. I enjoyed them. I thought they were fun to listen to. And they were, again, same kind of like the New York hip hop scene when it was coming around. The way they flowed with each other and the fact that they were always like trying to one up each other with the bars and the punchlines and whatnot. I really, really enjoyed them. I've always been a fan of like the 2-person duos as far as groups go.
Okay. Even
though sometimes it doesn't always work out. Sometimes they compete a little bit too much and end up breaking up. But I enjoyed EPMD. They were really good.
I like it.
So we are on number 7.
Number 7. My number 7 was Public Enemy. Chuck D, Flavor Flav. I mean,
Flavor Flav.
These boys were ahead of their time. You know, their music actually meant something. You know, they had the comical side, but they had the serious side.
Right.
You know, they're still relevant to this day. I mean, Flavor Flav had a damn show on MTV where you could fall or you could date him or some shit. Come on,
yeah, now. The Flavor of Love. That's what it was called.
The Flavor of Love, exactly.
Wow. What about one dating that cockroach?
He is an ugly son bitch with a big ass clock around his neck. But
I will say I don't have them on my list, but they get bonus points from me because of their I'm not going to call them political leanings, but their message that they always put out. And then when they did that joint venture with Rage Against the Machine,
that was awesome.
I enjoyed that. They are a very iconic group for sure.
Very iconic, yes, sir. What is your?
So my number 6 No, I'm sorry. My number 7. My number 7. My number 7 is Run DMC.
Run DMC.
They were like one of the original 3-man trios. Like, the fact that they were the first one to do the whole crossover bit with Aerosmith. They're honestly they're like the other side of the coin of the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys were kind of a rock rap. They were white guys. Run DMC, 3-man group, mostly rap, ventured into the rock side when they did Walk This Way with Aerosmith. They were pivotal in, I guess, bridging the gap between different people listening to their music, because it's not they weren't hardcore gangster rappers. They were just having fun. They're just making music. They're making things that they know everybody wants to listen to. And they also had a lot of fun. Songs like Tricky and Walk This Way with Aerosmith. Like, they made a lot of really good music that no matter what crowd you were around, you could throw it on and everybody would enjoy listening to it.
Yeah. I like that.
Now we're on to number 6.
It's funny because my number 6 is Run DMC.
there you go.
You basically nailed it on the head. They were great. Walk This Way was a big deal.
It's timeless.
It is timeless. As far as what you said about they're not out here gang banging or nothing like that, but they're putting out great music for us to play. I mean, Rev Run is an actual reverend.
Indeed.
He's a real reverend, and he's out here putting out hip hop music. His brother is the founder of Def Jam, Russell Simmons. I mean, iconic. First of their kind.
Right. Again,
definitely
J Master J, rest in peace.
J Master J, rest in
J.
Yeah. Let's move on to our number.
My number 6.
Yeah, you're number 6.
My number 6. Well, you hit them earlier. Bone Thugs and Harmony. So they're a little higher on my list. Now this is the flip side of this. When you're just a white kid listening to rap music, you enjoy listening to gangbanging music in your room when nobody else is there because you think you're a gangster. So when Thuggish Ruggish Bone came out, that might have been the first like rap song like tape cassette that I ever owned was Thuggish Ruggish Bone.
We're not against those thugs.
No, yeah, right. We're against these rappers.
Yeah,
that was the first time you were introduced to like rapping fast. Like, how many words can you fit into a 16-bar verse? Can you make it a 32-bar in a 16-bar verse? Like the speed, and honestly, obviously, we don't know what they said. Nobody knows.
Bum, 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 bum.
Right. You can slow them down and still not understand half of what they said, but it was still good music. They made good music, and then they all branched off and did their own thing, but they kept coming back together. Fun fact, me and I'm not going to say his name live, but my friend that we were talking about earlier that I went to lunch with, we went to Baltimore Soundstage. We went to a Bone Thugs Harmony concert, and it was an album showing. They did East 1999, the entire album that night. It was awesome. I had a contact high because there was so much weed getting passed around that place. Ridiculous. But it was 20, 30 years later, like they still are making good music. So they're another one. They're timeless. Like no matter how much time goes by, you'll always be able to throw on Crossroads or Thuggish Ruggish Bone or First of the Month, and just you'll bop
for the love of money.
For the love of money, right? And you'll just bop to it.
Rest in peace, Eazy-E.
Right, exactly.
There we go again.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So, that's your number 5. Right.
So you touched on them or a little.
This
earlier.
Is a list where we're pretty similar.
A Tribe Called Quest. The first time I ever heard Scenario, my mind was blown. Yeah. Busta Rhymes on the song, the flow of the song. There's not many songs that just work as well as this song did, but this song was definitely one of my favorites. Top 10 favorite songs all time. But great group.
Oh yeah,
Rest in peace, Fife Dog. There we go again.
right.
Um,
Always.
but definitely one of my favorites.
Gotcha.
Let's move on to
My number 5.
your number 5.
You already touched on Beastie Boys. Yeah, I think you hit it. You said it perfectly when you said they just liked having fun. When you got when you had Sabotage and Intergalactic, and you had
Fight for Your Right to Party.
Fight for Your Right to Party, and what is it? Shit, was it 2 MCs and 1 DJ? Like they were always having fun, but the kicker was they had serious talent and they could actually rap. Yeah. And no matter what you said about them, which a lot was said about them, they didn't care because they knew that they had the talent to succeed, and they did. And just the fact that as big as they got, they were always loyal to like New York because that's where they came up in, and that's where they stayed, and that's what they represented. They just made great music. You can't. They're undeniable. You could never say, nah, I don't really fuck with the Beastie Boys. Everybody has like that one song. For me, you hit it, Sabotage. I love that song. I love the music video. I love the whole concept of like the shitty cop drama. They just like the shitty broom handle mustache and it just they had too much fun. They really did.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. Right.
So you're number 5, or no, you're number 4.
Number 4. Now I'm not gonna say what this means on stream. NWA.
Somebody's got some attitude.
Yes. These guys, man, when they came out, it shook the world upside down.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Dre, you had Ice Cube, you had MC Ren, you had Eazy-E. I mean, you had an all-star team
100%.
Of talent.
100%.
When they dropped Fuck the Police, and like you would have thought the world was coming to an end.
Right. It had the police trying to arrest him for singing the song.
Controversy. I mean, if you've ever seen the movie Straight Outta Compton, which was amazing. And when they performed that live, back then you had all the stuff going on out in Cali and Compton and stuff, and the riots and everything. But they broke the mold. They kicked in the damn door, and they were iconic because
they were awesome. They were.
You're number 4, my friend.
So my number 4 is Outkast. Now for anybody watching this, our 1 through 4, we have the same groups, just in a slightly different order. So you're going to hear us kind of talk about the same points. My number 4 is Outkast. So Outkast to me was super important because they're the ones that really pioneered the Dirty South movement. As far as you've got Andre 3000, who, I mean, let's be honest, who has a name like Andre 3000? And then like he's the fun-loving guy, but he could spit. And then you got Big Boy, who they're just these Dirty South rappers who pioneered the Dirty South style, who they gave birth to like the Goody Mobs and like T.I. and like Young Jeezy. Like they were the first ones to do it down there, and they did it so good. You heard Scott talk about Elevators and ATLiens, the album, and you go all the way into like their new stuff, like Speaker Box and The Love Below, and like
Miss Jackson, Rosa Parks.
They've gone so many different ways. Bombs Over Baghdad. They literally can do anything they want, and it just works for them because they're so talented that it doesn't matter what you give them. They'll make chicken salad out of chicken shit no matter what you do. they're just
That's
that good at making music. So
that's a pretty good way. A pretty good way to put that.
yeah. I mean, it's a shout out to them. They're awesome. They really are.
All
Wow.
right, so we're on to my number 3 then, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, coming in at number 3. And I brought this up earlier that I didn't really fuck with these dudes until you kind of turned me on to them.
Yes, sir.
3 6 Mafia.
Say it right. Grammy Award winning 3-6 Mafia.
Grammy Award winning 3-6 Mafia. The shit just worked. They couldn't miss. I mean, everything was catchy, sipping on some scissor, slob on my knob. I mean, shit just worked.
Right.
And I mean, obviously they're not together now because Juicy J kind of went solo and did his thing, which turned out great for him.
There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. When he signed, who was that under? That was under Wiz Khalifa, right?
Taylor Gang, yeah.
All right, so whoever Taylor Gang's parent company is, they wouldn't let Juicy J go back to the group. So that's when they changed the name from 3-6 Mafia
6.
Right, to the Mafia 6, and that's how they were able to get him back together with them. But there was some fuckery that went on there, so it was interesting. But yeah.
But I mean,
go ahead. Yeah,
straight bangers. I mean,
oh yeah, all of
them. Half on a sack it seems to be my go-to 3-6 Mafia song.
I got you.
I just love it, man. What was your number 3?
So my number 3 is NWA. Obviously, I kind of agree. There's nothing else to be said about it. You said it, Art. Like they're iconic. When they came out, you talk about somebody like stirring up the pot, like them dudes dumped the pot out. They started over.
Yeah, they made their own pot.
Yeah, they made their own pot. They had so many iconic songs, and for anybody like you said that's watched the movie or grew up listening to it like we did, like everybody knows the story about what happened, after it imploded and they broke up. But like while they were together, that was a special moment. They were making
it was magic.
They were making magical music, and it really is a shame that it went down the way it went down, because I feel like if Eazy-E obviously hadn't contracted HIV and AIDS and he'd have lived, yeah, rest in peace, Eazy-E. I feel like if they would have been able to get back together and really like squash
do it again,
they could have made ridiculously good music, because they were all on board with getting back together until that happened. Then it just kind of fell to the wayside. But those guys made wild music, and it was so good. So good.
Eazy actually died on my birthday in 1995, man. It's crazy.
Shit. You killed Eazy-E. How dare you?
Yeah. Shout out Eazy-E.
I got you. So what you got for your number 2 there, sir?
Okay, so this was the hardest part of my whole list here.
We have the same number 2 for this as well.
So my number 2 is the Wu-Tang Clan.
Same here.
We touched on this a little while back. They didn't miss.
No, there were so many of them too.
Like even when they went solo, they didn't miss.
Yeah, even the ones that weren't as popular, like Liquid Swords by GZA.
Nobody
really knew who he was. Yeah, Bobby Digital.
I mean, they were the first rappers that I can remember that dropped the clothing line, and it didn't miss.
Oh yeah, Wu Wear. That's Wu Wear.
Wu Wear was awesome.
Wu Wear was everywhere.
I mean, they were dropping books and movies and music and clothes. I mean, these guys were on top of the world.
Yes.
And I really debated hard about putting these guys at number one,
Fair.
but it was this close to
Yeah,
being.
I hear you.
It was
They're
hard.
they're my number two as well. As you said, when you've got that many artists and they all put out amazing music, how do you go against that knowing that they put out that kind of music? It's just banger after banger after banger. And on top of that, you've got the personalities that come with it, like Old Dirty Bastard, obviously.
Oh, dirty bastard!
The album cover, Brooklyn Zoo, was his food stamp card. My man pulled up to the welfare office in a limo and got out to get his welfare check, got back in the limo and left.
He had 15 kids.
He had a lot of kids. He did have a lot of kids.
Raekwon.
You got Raekwon, and then him and Ghostface do their own thing. Supreme Clientele, Tony Stark,
Man.
Iron Man. You got Method Man that did his own thing. And that's the other thing. No artists starved. They all came out with their own album. All of them did.
And RZA, they were all classics.
GZA, right. Inspected Deck, Master Killer, You-God. They all had their own albums, and every album has at least 2 or 3 songs that you could probably go back to and be like, oh, this is the shit. You know what I mean? Like Only Built for Cuban Links by Raekwon. That was my jam. Tikal by Method, and of course Method Man obviously is going on. I want to say he's the most popular, but the most well known. But the truth is, if you're a true hip hop head, you know all of them and you listen to all of them. So.
Facts.
All right, who you got for your number one there, Scotty?
My number one, and you touched on him earlier, Big Boy, Andre 3000, yes. Outkast is my number one hip hop group of all time.
Yes, sir. There's no wrong answers here.
The first time I ever heard these guys was on the album Southern Playalistic Cadillac Funky Music or something.
All one word.
All one. The album title was this long.
Southern Playalistic.
It was all one word. And I just thought to myself, like, these dudes are dope. And then they come back and they drop Rosa Parks and Miss Jackson.
The official title was Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music with a Z and a K in music.
Yeah, and it's one word.
Yeah, it's one word.
Long.
Yeah.
And the guys are just dope.
Yeah.
Their music didn't miss. No. Every album is a classic. Oh, yeah. They had their own style and they made it work.
Yep.
So they didn't copy off of anybody else. They basically came out with their own stuff, and it sold. It was great, and that's why they came in at my number one.
Awesome. And nothing else needs to be said. And for anybody that's listening, look, there's no wrong answers here. Everybody's gonna have their own top 10 list. Our groups are very similar. Our artists are a little bit different. But as far as groups go, there are certain groups that they're undeniable. And right. It doesn't matter if you have them at 10 or 1. There's a million different groups out there. So a top 10 list is hard. So for us to have very similar lists, it should tell you something.
Absolutely.
So my number one, obviously, as he said, 3 6 Mafia. I grew up in the ghetto, and this was just the music that got me through the day. Starting all the way back with like Mystic Styles was their first album. And these boys were so paranoid about like being recognized. Like they wore masks on the album cover because they didn't want to be recognized. They just wanted to make dope and just put it out there for the people. All the way up to, as I touched on earlier, Ride the Spinners. When they did they had movies. They did the movies called Choices. They did all the soundtracks for it. You remember what was that song? Two-Way Freak?
Yep.
With the SkyTel pager. That was from Choices. And then they've had such an influence on the South, the same as Outkast. They're from Memphis, Tennessee. So they were that whole the grimy. Now I will say this, they did, they did what they did. So they did rap about, guns, drugs, whatever. But they made it catchy. And DJ Paul and Juicy J made all the beats. And You had Project Pat, who wasn't a part of the group, but that's that's Juicy J's cousin or brother. I think it's his brother. Crunchy Black was his cousin. He was, rest in peace. And or no, Lord Infamous. Actually, both of them. I think they're. I don't know. I think Crunchy Black's still alive. Lord Infamous passed away. But 3-6 Mafia branched out the same way like Wu-Tang did, because it was the 4 members, and then you had like Gangsta Boo, and you had LeChat, and then you ended up with like Lil White, Frazier Boy, Project Pat. Yeah, much. But they inspired so many different people to make music, and all their music was like these grimy, like chop beats that were just, they hit so hard. If you had a system and you listen to 3-6 Mafia, you was rattling windows, because they were real hard on the 808s down there. They bass over everything. But I just think that they're so good. Obviously, as we talked about, they won a Grammy for Hustle and Flow. They wrote the music for Hustle and Flow.
Hard out here for a pimp.
Yeah, they made that song. So it's like, and they got it with Terrence Howard actually rapping over it. They made Whoop that trick for him.
Terrence Howard.
So they've done so many different things. I respect them as artists because they're awesome. And they've never switched up. Like DJ Paul is like, he does his own thing. Hell, he's a juggalo. He went on tour with ICP and did like a multi-city tour with them. Like he's doing his thing. Juicy J did his thing. They all branched out, but Outkast is definitely my number one, or not Outkast. 3-6 Mafia is definitely my number one group, just because I grew up on them. I listen to them. I still listen to them, and at any given time, you might catch me in my car listening to them, just riding down the road bumping.
No. Any honorable mentions that you want to throw in here?
So yes. So for me, an honorable mention, the Lox. Completely forgot about them.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yep.
Another one for me, and I mean, I'm showing my age here, but Naughty by Nature.
Oh yeah.
Was definitely one that I can remember. You know, the first time I heard "You Down with OPP," yeah, you know me,
right? Yeah, and then everybody snowballed. Other people's property? No, that ain't what it's standing for.
I would probably throw the G Unit on this list.
Junior Mafia.
Junior Mafia is another one. Cypress Hill was one that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's the problem is it's a top 10 list, and it's hard to squeeze everybody in there. One more.
What you got?
One more that I would throw in: the Fugees. The Score was one of the greatest rap albums of all time.
It was. I don't know though. That album, no doubt. That album alone, but their body of work,
Yeah. I mean, basically, that album was the only album they ever.
Yeah, they were definitely bigger two of them were bigger as solo artists than in the Fugees. But no, I guess you got to give it to them. They were good. Yeah. They were awesome. There's just, as I said, there's so many. There's so De La Soul,
Salt and Pepper.
There's so many people that if you went down the list, you could. Now the other thing is you start getting into the honorable mentions. You're talking about like what we talked about this off stream was like you got Cash Money. Like what about the Hot Boys?
The Hot Boys is one.
But then you get the Hot Boys, and then you talk about Young Money. That was a label, but they were technically Young Money was their group name.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, so you start getting into those little rabbit holes, and then we talked about Busta Rhymes earlier, leaders of the new school.
Yeah.
There's just it's a top 10 list for a reason. It's hard to narrow it down.
It's hard to narrow it down. It's basically a matter of our opinion.
Right.
And if you don't agree with us, I mean you have every right to make your own list. So
absolutely.
We're gonna hop in the top 10 hip hop artists of all time. This was a hard list.
I've changed it 4 or 5 times.
I've already changed mine like 12 times today, and then I still don't like it, but we're just gonna go with it.
Gotcha.
We'll start with you this time around.
Sorry, me this time around. All right. So my number 10 is 50 Cent. He barely made the list. Now that I'm looking at it, there's like 2 or 3 others I'd put on there, and he would end up getting bumped off. But I think he was very important for hip hop because when he came in and released that first album, like Wankster, and then when he dropped In the Club, it was over. It was 50 Cent summer. Like it just he never looked back. Like he started off big, he blew up so fast and just ran with it. Yeah. And to this day, he's branched out. Vitamin Water, fucking power. Like, and he also, as an artist, he made the list because he's a troll, dude. The way he trolls other people in the industry,
Ja Rule.
Not even Ja Rule, the shit about Puffy recently.
Yeah,
like he's such a troll that he does it for me. Like I laugh so hard. Like when I see him on what is it, the morning show with what's his name?
Charlemagne
the God. When he's on that morning show, you know he's about to say some stupid shit, and you're gonna laugh your ass off. Whether it's about Puffy or whether it's about like Nick Cannon or like whatever he's talking about, he'll make you laugh with the way he talks about shit.
I mean, you're definitely not gonna fight him because the dude's he's a fucking monster.
You can't shoot him either.
He's been shot 9 times.
Oh, he got shot 9 times and live. We gonna do. You better hit him with a bazooka. No. Right. What you got there on your number?
Looking for my list. Hold on.
It's a little further up.
Yeah, there it is. My number 10.
Oh, the crazy man.
Kanye West. Now, granted, Kanye fucked up. He said some crazy shit. But you can't deny that man's music.
He's a genius in his own head, dude.
When he dropped his first album, Through the Wire,
that was a great song.
He literally rapped with a jaw that was wired shut.
Yep. It was a great song.
Dude is a legend.
He's had a few hot wives too.
He's fucked that up though, but
his newest wife's hotter than her.
Yeah.
She got natural heavies.
I'm not gonna say that I agree with this man's vision, but musically, he's one of the greatest of all time.
They all said though he only needs like one good album and he'll be right back to where he was though. Like they've all said, like
he's got a new album about to drop with.
That's what they're talking about.
21 Savage.
I have no idea. I
don't know who it's with, but it's supposed to be. They even sampled music from the Backstreet Boys.
If anybody can make it work, Kanye's crazy ass can.
What was your number 9?
My number 9 is Hopsin. So
tell me who. I don't know who this is.
So Hopsin is from California. He is from Panorama City. Is it's a section in the ghettos of California in LA. Hopsin he's a black guy and he has the white contacts. Pretty sure you've seen him if you Google him. You've probably seen him before, and I'm sure you've heard some of his music. He's not super well known, but I'm a huge fan of his. He makes really, really good music, but he's a good storyteller too. And I'm
he's creepy as fuck.
Yeah. He the white contacts. He looks a little creepy. He is currently on his own label. He started out with Funk Volume. And Funk Volume was him, Dizzy Wright, Jaron Benton, Swizz. There's a lot of people that you probably heard of or have at least probably heard music from. But Hopsin has this long running series. You know how Uncle Murder does the yearly wrap up.
Yeah.
So Hopsin has these this group of songs called "Ill Mind of Hopsin," and they're super good songs, and they're informative and they're inspirational. So Hopsin doesn't do drugs, he doesn't drink. He's just a rapper. He's inspired. He gets his inspiration from like Kendrick, J. Cole, Eminem. Like he thinks Eminem is one of the greatest rappers ever. So he gets a lot of his flow from Eminem, and he raps a lot like him. Hopsin is a good artist. He is amazing. Oh, Chuck.
That was your number 9.
Yep. Yeah, Ill Mind. That's what he just kind of, yeah, Ill Mind of Hopsin. Those songs are freaking amazing, and I recommend anybody listen to them. They're spread across all his albums, but they're very, very good. So, what you got for your number 9 there, Bubba?
Snoop D-O-double-G.
Snoop and Loop.
Martha
Stewart side piece.
There's not much you can say. I mean, if you don't know who Snoop Dogg is, then you don't listen to rap music.
Obviously, Snoop
has been around since 1993.
Yeah, we don't really have to say too much about him. Everybody, we've hammered his name in on this damn thing.
Snoop is goated. He's even on some people's Mount Rushmore of greatest of all time.
I can see
Snoop didn't miss.
No.
Definitely love Snoop Dogg. What was your number 8?
He definitely did miss. Did you see where he got that 187 charge? He don't miss.
Murder was the case that they gave me.
So my number 8's Redman.
Redman, Reggie Noble.
I've always been a huge fan of his. I love the way his flow, it works. He's very lyrical. But I love that he's always having fun. Like he's always laughing. Like the videos where it cuts to the girl riding on the bike and then she goes up on the back of the car and busts the window out. It just that he's always having fun with it. He never takes himself too seriously. He showed up to what is that morning show with Charlamagne Tha God? What station is it? Was that one Power 10 whatever?
The Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club. He showed up on the Breakfast Club with a plastic bag with a fake Coke can that he had his weed hid in. Like he's so humble, but he's that dude. Like rapping, like he is that dude. He's awesome at rapping. He's had a couple albums where when he comes out he's not number 1, but he's always been like sneaky like top 5 rappers like for a long time. No, that's where I got him at.
Number 8. My number 8 is a lot of people's number 1. At one time, he was probably my number 1, but the problem is he wasn't around long enough, and he's been surpassed.
Correct.
But my number 8 is the Notorious B.I.G.
Baby.
Ready to Die dropped. Big Papa, one more chance. Who Shot Ya?
Right.
The album was a wall-to-wall classic.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy how things worked out because basically the album was called Ready to Die. He died and then dropped an album called Life After Death, but the album was already made before he died. Crazy shit. That's a whole different thing. But dude dropped 2 classic albums. Like I said, he wasn't around long enough for me to consider him the greatest of all time. But he's definitely deserves to be in the spot that he is in. Rest in peace, Biggie.
Obviously.
He's my number 8.
All right. So we'll move past Mike because he's my number 7.
Is he really?
So yeah. So he's my number 7. Same thing. I agree. The only thing I want to add is it is truly interesting to think what kind of music he could have continued to make had he lived. But what I appreciate about him was, again, storytelling. He was a great storyteller. I love the way he like moved through his songs. Like there was always a story that he was telling, and they were always a lot different. Like, it was him messing with some girl and then her man comes home early, or the one with the hotel. He was just a really good storyteller, and had a great way with words. So that was my number. He was your 8. He was my number 7.
My number 7, Drake.
Ugh.
Now listen to me. Now,
I'm gonna hear you out. I just don't agree.
So obviously Drake he's been around now for what, 15 years, 10 years, whatever.
I'd say 12 to 15 ish. Yeah. I don't know. Are we counting Degrassi?
Jimmy.
Wheelchair Jimmy. How long's Aubrey been around?
So let's just call it the last 10 years. Drake has carried hip hop. Every album he drops, straight to number 1. He's had more number 1 hits than Michael Jackson.
Sorry.
The Drake is just like that. He's like that dude that you just want to hang out. You just want to hang out with him because he's going to have he's going to have a good time. His music is catchy. And I wasn't really that big of a fan, but you can't deny what the man's done for hip hop and for music. Like I said, every album that drops goes straight to number 1. Shout out to Weezy F Baby, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have Drake.
Yeah. Yes.
Not everybody loves him. A lot of folks hate him.
I don't hate him. I just don't think he's top 10.
You just can't deny what he's done for music, man.
That's fair.
What's your number 6?
My number 6 is Tupac.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace again. Tupac was an interesting rapper because he always had I want to call it a political message, but not quite political. He always had a message in his songs, trying to inspire people to be better. Brenda's Got a Baby, Live and Die in LA, Hail Mary. Hail Mary, keep your head up. Hail Mary. I mean, it was a different message, but it was still a message. But like he was always about his neighborhood, and he was always trying to inspire people to be better than they were the day before. Unfortunately, he had his own personal demons where he didn't exactly do that himself. He got caught up in some less than savory people and circumstances, and I think he's same as Notorious B.I.G. I think he died way too early.
But did he die for real?
Did he die for real, or is he in Jamaica somewhere with dreads? And no, he's bald. He ain't got the dreads. But same thing, the same as Biggie. What kind of music? Now he had a little bit longer of a career than Biggie. He had a few more albums, but it's like, how much better could he have gotten? What kind of music could we have gotten if like that whole East versus West Coast shit didn't pop off and they'd have just, squashed it and kept making music maybe together? It's sad when you think about it, because there's so many great artists that you could run down the list, Chinx Drugs, Stack Bundles, Biggie, Tupac, Big L, just so many people that have died just way too soon. The guy from the Migos, Takeoff. Like, it's so many rappers that die under like just stupid circumstances
for stupid shit.
Stupid shit. Just like there's no need for it. Like, why are you putting yourself in these situations? But they do. That you give them credit. They're living what they say, what they rap, but maybe, maybe not do that so often. But Tupac, I mean, he was awesome lyrically. He was a great actor. He did a couple movies that were really good. He was just an all around. He was just a good artist. So that's where I have him in number 6. My
number 6, Ladies Love Cool James. LL Cool J.
I forgot about him.
The The first hip hop song I ever heard in my life was "I'm Bad" by LL Cool J,
Yes, sir.
and from that point, I became a fan.
Nice.
I don't like all of his music, but he's got a solid 40 songs that you can
Oh my
play,
God, yeah.
and they're bangers.
And they're also on opposite ends of the spectrum. Because you
Right.
got like Mama Said Knock You
Rap,
Out.
and then you got a love song.
You got
Then you
Doing
got
It.
rap. Then you got Doing
Wait a
It.
minute. Was Doing It a love song, or was that a little more aggressive than a love song?
It's
Because
an aggressive.
he
It's an
was
aggressive
aggressive.
love song.
He was aggressive with that song.
Then you got Hey Lover, and then you got, I don't know, I can't live without my radio. I mean, he's all over the
He's
place.
all over the place. Yeah.
But
it
he
was all
made
good.
it work. Longevity was there. I mean, he's been rapping since the 80s.
Yeah, he had an album called Goat, didn't he? Wasn't it his 10th album? He
Yeah.
called it Goat. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many
So
albums did
that's
he
why.
make? That man's made a lot of albums.
And now he's acting.
Yeah.
You know, he's acted in plenty of movies. He's on NCIS, I
He's
think.
on I don't know if he still is, but he was on MCIs, but the movies. Any Given Sunday, Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea, yeah.
Yeah. That man's made a lot of shit.
But yeah, he came in at my number 6.
All right. So my number 5, as far as artists, is Jadakiss. So we touched on the Lox. I forgot to mention them as a group, but if we're going to talk just lyricism and just rapping in general, Jadakiss is up there. A lot of people, yeah. A lot of people sleep on Jadakiss. Jadakiss spits bars, and he is good. Jadakiss has been on my radar ever since, DMX's album, because he had Jadakiss featured on a couple songs. The Lox was on it. And I've always liked Jadakiss. I love his raspy voice. I love the way he raps. I love the way he talks. And he has he's got a grimy flow, but it's so smooth with his delivery and the cadence where you're just like, God damn, he's got bars.
I was gonna say Why by him is one of my favorite songs.
Oh yeah, that's a great. Well, yeah, because he's talking about some real shit.
Yeah.
But it's just he's always been somebody that I always keep an ear out for, because he's got his albums are the same way. Like, you can put one of his albums on front to back, and they're just all good songs. Now he is a little more on the rap side, not real lovey-dovey. He's got a couple slower songs. Most of his shit's rap, but he's so smooth and just real meticulous with his delivery that there's just never a wasted bar. There's never a wasted space in a song. So I got him at number 5.
My number 5, Nas, Escobar.
Fair.
This man, he dropped an album with 6 songs on it, and it received 5 mics in the Source magazine.
Illmatic.
6 songs. The man, his message, what he's done for rap. I don't even need to actually explain it. He's just know that rap is what it is because of Nas.
Right.
That's the Jay-Z Nas beef, one of the greatest beefs of all time. Ether.
Oh yeah.
Possibly the greatest diss song of all time.
It's up there.
That's a whole different. We can cover that one day, because I would love to. I would love
rap
to do
beefs.
That. Yeah.
So a whole episode on rap beef, that'd be interesting.
I think that would be fun.
How that brings in whole album labels and shit.
Yeah, but Nas is my number 5.
All right. So my number 4, the white boy, Eminem. So we talked about this off stream. I was shocked. Eminem didn't make my top 3. And I'm not saying he shouldn't. He definitely should. But he doesn't make my top 3. So Eminem is my number 4. There's nothing to say. Eminem is who he is. I mean, he sold a bajillion albums. He's one of the greatest selling artists, if not the greatest selling artist of all time. He's got multiple albums that have gone diamond, double fucking diamond, fucking obsidian. Who knows how many albums he sold? But he came in to rap under Dr. Dre at a time where you were on the tail end of Vanilla Ice.
Right.
And you couldn't be white and rapping. Like you had, what was it? Third Base, and you had Everlast. And it was basically like if you were white, you were rapping, you were just a corny you were a gimmick rapper, you were corny. And he embraced it because he came in with My Name Is, which was like the corniest music video of all time. But the lyricism, and that's what I value in a rapper, lyricism. He can put shit together that you're like, how the fuck did he rap that? And then as he went on, he got better and better and better, all the way up to like Rap God. And even his newer stuff is super good. Obviously, it's a little dirty, it's a little nasty. He talks about some touchy subjects. But he's another artist that can go from one side of the spectrum to the other because he's got like obviously 97 Bonnie and Clyde. We all know what that song was about. But then he made Mockingbird and Haley's song, for his daughters. And it's like, it's funny that, you can see him be vulnerable in songs. And then, he talks about hitting his mother in the head with a fucking shovel, which is hilarious. And he also makes fun songs like, The Real Slim Shady, hilarious song. Fack with, didn't that video have Triumph the dog in it?
Yeah.
the insult dog.
Smack that.
Smack that with Akon. Like, so he's done so many different songs and genres, but he is definitely, you talk about like top rappers, like all time. There's no way he's not in the conversation. He might be the best rapper of all time. I've heard recently, a lot of people saying he can't be because he's white. Why not? If Tiger Woods is the best golfer, why can't Eminem be the best rapper? It's like you take your shots. Even 50 Cent says, a lot of people are haters. He's like, he sounds like a hater when he talks about it because the best rapper is a white boy. So call it what you want. You can argue it till you're blue in the face, but you'll never take the accolades away from him, the awards that he's won. So he's my number 4. I'm shocked that he's not higher, but when I sat down and I looked at my list, I couldn't do it because there's people that are just mean more to me personally. So
got it.
Number 4, what you got?
My number 4 is Mr. Tupac Shakur.
Tupac. The Tupac.
I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. If you want to know why he's my number 4, listen to the All Eyes on Me album. Done.
Yeah.
Double album. Incredible. Done.
Not bad song on it.
So go on to, let's see, what was your number 3, my friend?
My number 3 is somebody that I had initially forgot about, and then I remembered, and I felt ashamed. So my number 3 is Big L. So
rest in peace.
Rest in peace. A lot of people don't know who Big L was. So he was a rapper from New York. He was tragically gunned down, as is so many New York rappers for some odd reason. Big L was one of the most lyrically talented artists or rappers to come around in a very, very long time. He has songs where he talks about being the devil's son and casualties of a dice game. He has songs that when you listen to him, like he's such a great storyteller, you feel like you're right there next to him as he's telling it. Big L was one of the hardest rappers ever to come out of New York, in my opinion, and might ever. He has, do you remember when Papoose did the Alphabet Slaughter with K-Slay?
Absolutely.
So Big L has a similar one where he talks about slang words and what they mean. Tickers your heart, icebox, things like. He goes through this whole like spiel of like what the slang word is, what it actually means, and the beat's insane. And he's just a great artist. I value Big L for his lyricism, the way he could twist words around and rhyme. He is ridiculously good. I encourage anybody who doesn't know who Big L is, listen to him. Find him on Spotify, Pandora, wherever you need to find him. Listen to Big L. You can't go wrong. I promise you.
Very well put. My number 3 used to be my number 1. Slim Shady.
Oh, he did make your top 3.
Mr. Marshall Mathers.
Okay.
You know, kind of like you said, you know, the guy came out. All I'm gonna say is he's not supposed to be here. He was a white man in a non-white man world. Destroyed the rap game.
Yeah.
Sold the most albums of any hip hop artist of all time. He sold over 200 million albums.
Damn. God damn.
And
give me $1 for every album. Jesus.
And he keeps reinventing the way he raps. If you listen to my name is, and then you go back and you listen to Rap God.
Yeah, it's a whole different person.
It's a whole different version of Eminem.
Yep.
I mean, you got the Busta Rhymes out here. You got Twista out here. Eminem holds the record for most songs, most words said in a song and a minute of all time. He said like 700 words in 1 minute. Insane. Like I said, he's not supposed to be here, but he is.
Right, but he is.
That's why he's my number 3.
Right. Awesome. All right. Right now, number 2.
Number 2.
All right. My number 2 is Method Man. Now, we talked about Wu-Tang Clan. We talked about how many great artists they have. Method Man, in a room of killers, stood out amongst all of them. Correct. Method Man, again, as I said earlier, I value lyricism. The way he puts verses together is insane because, for one, he doesn't curse that much. He doesn't, for lack of a better term, he doesn't use the N-word that much. He uses just straight words and bars and lyrics, and he raps his ass off. And what I like about him is actually the opposite of what you were talking about with Eminem. He's never changed who he is. He's always had the same flow, but it's timeless. He's all because his voice, like he's always had that laid back flow, but he's just got punchlines and bars. And he's just all between all the albums and, you know, the movies, obviously, and all the mixtapes he's made and all the Wu-Tang albums. He's all the features he's done. He's ridiculously good. He's been at this shit since the early 80s. What more can you say? He's still relevant. He's still popular. I still look forward to new music coming out by him. And it's like, how do you deny that when you've been around that long? And now he's probably had 1 or 2 like bad songs here or there, or songs that weren't as popular. But you're talking about this man's probably made 3,000 to 5,000 songs. Who knows? You know, and it's just like, you need to look no further than like the Blackout album with him and Redman. That album was fire. The original Tikal album, dude. Release Your Delph is one of the best songs he's ever made, and that's from when did Tikal come out? My God.
90.
How old's that freaking album?
5, maybe?
94. November of 94.
Wow.
That's how old that album is. So he made a song that you can bump any day of the week in 1994. Folks, it's 2023.
Bring the Pain.
You talk about 30. Yeah, Bring the Pain. Same album. You're talking 30 years later, and he's got bangers. I respect the shit out of Method Man because his flow is so top notch, and he does it without like overly using curse words all that much. He's got a really clean flow, and it's so smooth. So that's why Method Man is my number 2.
Ready for my number 2?
Go for it.
I'm gonna just do this.
Diamond Dallas Page. Diamond Dallas Page is your number 2. I didn't know you rapped.
A diamond upside down is a pussy. I actually watched that today. Jay-Z is my number 2.
We can argue about this till the cows come home. I've never personally been a fan of Jay-Z. We've had arguments about this. I'm not a fan.
We'll probably have an argument about it tomorrow too. That's just how we roll
for the rest of life.
Yeah,
I just don't fuck with him. Not my cup of tea.
Jay-Z's a freaking storyteller, bro. Empire State of Mind is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah,
him and Alicia Keys killed it. But I mean, you can go back to Reasonable Doubt, Can't Knock the Hustle, Dead Presidents, H to the Izzo, Bonnie and Clyde. I mean, Dirt Off Your Shoulder. I mean, dude's put out consistent bang, like heat forever.
Yeah, no, he has. As I said, it's nothing. It's just me personally. I don't take anything away from him. The man's
14 albums. 14 albums have all been number 1. He's won 20 Grammys. I mean, dude's a legend.
Right. He owns everything.
and he's hip hop's first billionaire.
Right. And he married Beyonce. Come on.
And he's married to one of the most gorgeous women on the planet.
Unless you get that one picture, the freeze frame from the Super Bowl, where she's like,
"Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about the freeze frame." That was my number 2. What do you got at your number 2 there, big dog?
I already have my number 2. That was Method Man.
All right, your number 1.
Time for the number 1.
Rest in peace.
DMX, rest in peace, is my number 1. DMX means so much to me as an artist because he was one of the, like I said, he was the first rap album I ever owned. Was It's Dark and Hell Is Hot. He came out, he's the only artist to come out with 2 number 1 albums in the same year, because he came out with It's Dark and Hell Is Hot and then came out with Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. Same year. Both number 1. DMX, I'm pretty sure every album he's come out with is going number 1. Debuted at number 1. I could be wrong about that, but I know at least the first 4 or 5 did. He's got classic songs, the Damien songs, Rough Riders Anthem, Lose My Mind, Party song.
Get At Me Dog.
At Me Dog. That was the first single we ever made.
Where's the Hood At?
Where's the Hood At? The one with What's My Name? That song makes you want to punch somebody in the fucking forehead and stomp them out with some Timbs on.
Slipping.
So, all right, so I was going to get in that. So you've got those songs, gangster songs, and then you got the other side. You've got Slipping. You've got the prayer songs that he put at the end of every album. This man would do a concert and he'd rap. What These Bitches Want with Cisco. He would rap.
Fire.
And then he would sing. He'd have everybody bopping, and then he would stop the concert and he'd get on his knees and do a prayer for the whole stadium. And it's like the man was troubled.
It was real.
The man was troubled, no doubt. My man, but he also always had a message in all the songs that he sang. He talked about, being for Jesus, but the man, obviously, he was he had some crack issues. The man had some drug problems. We all know this. The man, he was a troubled individual. But even through all of that, he put out song after song after song of ridiculous fire. Some of his songs I don't think will ever go away. We talked about Rough Riders Anthem. When you hear that song, that first little thing, you know what it is. When you hear What's My Name, you know what it is. Like, he has so many songs that, like, as soon as you hear it, it puts you in a specific mood, because you about to get like really hype and be like beating on your steering wheel driving down the highway. screaming at your windshield, or you might cry a little bit sitting in a dark room listening to the Slippin', because he just had such a range of emotions that he put out there. And not to mention his, music career, personal life, things like that, but just his TV and movie career. But as an artist, pure artist, he was lyrical, he was deep, he always had a message, and he did it for me because I grew up on him, and to this day, he's probably one of my favorite artists. And that says a lot, because as you said, I mean, look at the top 10 list. Come on, there's so many people that are left out that could have made it that didn't, So that's my number one.
That's a good number one.
Right? So what you got? Who's your number one, sir?
So before I tell you who my number one is, and you talk about the people that didn't make your list or didn't make the list, DMX wasn't even on my list.
Nas wasn't on mine.
I didn't have room for him.
That's all I said. There's no wrong answers here, because you could do a top 10 or you could do a top 50, and who knows how it might shake out then. You could do a top 100. That's why all the websites do a top 100, not a top 10, because you'd have people fist fighting in the office.
But my number one, and we've talked about him earlier, Lil Wayne.
Yep.
What can't you say about Weezy, man? He's been in the game for 25 years.
I can say he didn't make it on my list. Why? I don't know. He should have been.
Right. He's dropped mixtapes that were better than in his albums. The Carter series, the Carter 3 is probably the greatest rap album of all time.
The Carter 3 is one of the reasons why he's not high on my list, because I lived in Florida when the Carter 3 came out. I couldn't walk half a block without hearing that album. I had to boycott it. I couldn't listen to it. I was tired of listening to it.
It was a classic. It was a classic.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
What was the mixtape series?
Sorry for the wait. Then you had the other one too. I can't think of what it's called. But they were bangers. For somebody that's been around as long as he's been around.
Oh, it's called Dedication.
That's it. Yeah, with DJ Drama, I believe.
Yep. Oh, and then of course the No Ceilings mixtape. That was a mixtape that should have been an album.
Right. For somebody that's been around for as long as he's been around, he's only 41 years old.
He started young too.
We're about to get the Carter 6, which is going to be crazy.
I'm sure.
Weezy is my GOAT. He's the greatest of all time.
That's fair. And it's fair. It's not like you can really argue one way or the other.
The music speaks for itself. The features speak for themselves. He's been in everybody's songs. He's killed it on everybody's song.
Yes.
Mixtapes are bangers. He's my GOAT.
Yeah, he's one of those few people where you can say, like, he's never done a bad feature. If he's on that song's fire. No doubt.
Yeah. Exactly. That's
fair. That's fair.
So we've come to the part where we're honorable mentions. Anybody you want to throw in there that you didn't?
Honorable mentions as far as like solo rappers.
Yeah.
Are people like KRS-One. Forgot about him. I actually did have Slick Rick on my list. He got bumped. I'm sorry, Rick. You told a great story, but you was just an eye short. My bad. That's messed up.
Shout out to the patch.
Honorable mentions. We didn't, and this is nothing against any of them. We mentioned no female rappers. Missy Elliott changed the fucking game. Yeah. Missy Elliott. And then if you want to go further, Nicki Minaj. I'm not going to say Cardi B because that's no. But Nicki Minaj, Missy Elliott, Lil' Kim. Lil' Kim was probably the first one to do it. But Missy Elliott, like lyrical-wise, Missy Elliott shits on male rappers. Top 10, I'm not gonna say of all time, but you got like Ludacris. He's been around forever. He's dropped a lot of bangers.
Problem with him though, and I actually toyed around with putting him on my list, is he's known more now for being in Fast and Furious
Than he
than
was
he is
right.
than he is as a rapper.
Right. Absolutely. And I agree with you on that. But I mean, he's still, that's the thing though. He's a movie star that dabbles in music at this point.
Right. Not the
So
other way around.
you kind of get not the other way around. Other honorable mentions: Warren G, Nate, that whole West Coast crew, Warren G, Nate Dogg, Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace.
Nate Dogg, rest in peace.
The Game.
Yeah.
And then like East Coast. There's probably a lot of East Coast people you can mention as far as like rappers go.
Big Pun.
Big Pun, rest in peace.
Fat Joe.
Fat Joe, right. Like solo artist wise, Peter Guns. there's just
Rule.
There's just so many as a rap group, Murder Inc. There's so many people that we could, how long have we been at this? An hour and 45 minutes. We could go at this for 5 fucking hours. We could probably stop, take a 5-minute break, retool our whole top 10 list, and come back with a whole new list. Yeah. And it wouldn't even be hard. Yeah. Top rap groups, Terror Squad. Like there's there's too many.
MOP.
Oh my god, MOP, right?
Ain't up.
Oh, dude, does Funkmaster Flex get an honorable mention? He wasn't an artist, but god damn, he put some albums together.
Yeah.
And at that point, DJ Clue, Khaled, like you get into these, like Rick Ross, he could probably be on there.
Yeah.
There's so many people that didn't make the list, and it's not because we don't want you to make the list. It's because there's just so many people that did make the list. There
wasn't a spot left,
bro. I got a notebook down here. I've got 50 names written in, and you just got to like start crossing them off because it's like, is he more popular than him, or is he? You know what I mean? It's so hard. So
definitely made you think tonight. Definitely made.
Oh yeah. You got to put some brain power into it. That's for sure. So, you got anybody else as far as the honorable mentions, or?
I mean, you hit a lot of them. Missy Elliott's definitely one of the ones that's there.
She should be on that top 10 list, honestly.
Yeah, she should. She's just not better than anybody on my top 10 list.
Absolutely.
Ice Cube could be on the list somewhere.
There you go.
Nick Shay's in the building. What's up, baby?
Yeah, we're still talking. We're 2 hours into this hip hop shit.
Shit, we should have had him on here. Yeah, man, it's just a lot. 50 years of hip hop.
Oh yeah, there's a comment for you. There's the top 10 artists. Snow Informer. Oh no.
And to this day, I still have no idea what the hell he said either.
I was gonna say, yeah, he should have just joined Bone Thugs and Harmony. They could have done a mashup.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. Well, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and wrap it up then. This has been a interesting discussion. For anybody that watches this, we're back. We're gonna do this. We're gonna try and do this every week. We'll see what happens. For anybody that watches this, if you have any thoughts, I mean, feel free to comment on the wherever you see this at, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Feel free to comment your top 10, or feel free to curse us out because you think somebody's on there that doesn't deserve to be on there. But that's about all I got for you.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good week, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.